Last year, the handsome Hyundai Ioniq 5 EV successfully conquered MotorTrend's SUV of the Year contest, so knowing that more impressive Ioniq 5N performance model was right around the corner has been driving us crazy. Last month, we had a chance to drive a prototype of the Ioniq 5N that confirmed our suspicions that the Korean automaker's first performance EV would be something truly special. Now that the specs are confirmed, here's what Hyundai's come up with. The Ioniq 5N with 600 horsepower and a huge suite of gizmos and enhancements to make it go very, very fast, and do it repeatably and reliably. Hyundai's N performance division is still relatively young, but it appears to have a clear vision focused around three key corporate pillars for its vehicles: corner rascal, racetrack capability, and everyday sports car. The latter two focuses are self-explanatory, as Hyundai wants its performance models to be fit for the racetrack as well as everyday road use. The third pillar, corner rascal, is what's supposed to make sure the cars are fun to drive, tuning the handling to be more engaging for the driver. The new Ioniq 5N EV hatchback is the first mass-production, high-performance EV from Hyundai, and the first N car with all-electric all-wheel drive. It's the third Hyundai model to be based on the EGMP platform following the standard Ioniq 5 and its sedan sibling, the Ioniq 6. Jae-hoon Chong, president and CEO of Hyundai Motor Company, thinks the new Ioniq 5N is a big deal for the brand. Key developments around this vehicle will further strengthen the competitiveness of all Hyundai models going forward. This is why N brand exists. From the outside, the Ioniq 5N's upgrades appear to be fairly conservative, which is more a testament to how good the base SUV's setup is for aerodynamics and handling. The N is lower, wider, and gets larger lightweight, forged 21-inch aluminum wheels wrapped in Pirelli P0275 35ths R21 tires. Brake cooling is enhanced with a new N-mask graphic front fascia with functional mesh, a new air curtain, and 3 active front air flaps. The new bumper designs increase the overall length by just over 3 inches. There's a new wing-type rear spoiler with an integrated brake light, a new rear diffuser, and a new air outlet to optimize airflow. Dark contrasting exterior elements are now highlighted with a new N accent color, luminous orange matte. The Ioniq 5N gets a suite of sustainable materials inside, including a recycled paper door garnish, sugarcane-based PET and TPO, recycled tire pigment, recycled Alcantara cloth, and eco-processed leather. Two-tone racing bucket seats in either cloth and leather or eco-Alcantara and leather are available, with a lowered seating position and reinforced bolsters. There's a steering wheel with 4 dedicated drive mode buttons, including the N Grin Boost button that increases power output for 10 seconds, as well as N unique knee pads and shin supports, and a sliding armrest. The new Ioniq 5N also benefits from a suite of chassis enhancements, including 42 additional welding points and nearly 7 feet of additional structural adhesive to improve body rigidity. More reinforcement has been added to the motor and battery mounts and front and rear subframes for lateral rigidity. The front and rear now gets World Rally Championship-inspired integrated drive axles, IDA, which integrate the axle and the wheel hub into a single assembly, which improve motor torque and reduce unsprung mass. The 5N also gets a specific steering rack with a quicker ratio to enhance response and road feedback. Additionally, the sprightly EV benefits from a host of mostly self-explanatory branded systems to help tailor the driving experience. N battery preconditioning, N race, N pedal, N brake region, N drift optimizer, N torque distribution, N launch control, N Grin Boost, N Active Sound Plus, N East Shift, N Road Sense and Track Society. There's also a dedicated cooling system that includes an increased cooling area, an enhanced motor cooler, improved battery chiller, and more efficient packaging. N battery preconditioning optimizes the vehicle's battery cells to the most power-efficient temperature depending on the task at hand. N available drag mode conditions the battery for short bursts at full power. Track mode optimizes cells to maintain lower temperatures for repeated laps. Similarly, the N race system can limit peak power for a slower rise in temperature in its endurance mode, or prioritize peak power with less regard for temperature in sprint mode. As we found out in our prototype drive, the goal is for an Ioniq 5N owner to go to any typical high-performance driving experience, HPDE, track day and run a full session without losing power. The N Drift Optimizer is capable of simulating a clutch kick to get the car sideways, and can help maintain the drift angle based on the inputs of the driver. The N Torque Distribution offers 11 levels of adjustment to the fully variable front and rear torque applications via the e-motors. N Launch Control does what it says on the tin, helping the car find grip and accelerate as quickly as possible from a standstill. The N Grin Boost feature has been previewed on gas models in the past, offering up to 20 seconds of improved, boosted performance. The Ioniq 5N EV system works a little differently, offering just 10 seconds of enhanced power, nearly 40 horsepower and 22 pound-feet of torque more than the standard output, maxing out at 641 horsepower and 568 pound-feet of torque. The N Active Sound Plus system combines combustion-like noises, engine and exhaust notes and crackles, with futuristic EV sounds. Drivers can pick from several sound profiles. The intriguing N E-Shift system simulates the gear shifts of the N division's combustion-powered 8-speed dual-clutch transmission, DCT, vehicles with the EV powertrain. N Road Sense can automatically recommend when to use the sportier features and settings, and Track Society helps drivers monitor the battery and vehicle during intense driving sessions. N pedal simulates braking for cornering with an aggressive turn and weight transfer utilizing the available regenerative braking system on the vehicle. An N brake region can set the intensity of the braking force. The Ioniq 5N gets 400mm, 4-piston discs in the front and 360mm discs in the rear, with a lighter metallurgy and hybrid construction. The region system offers up to 0.6 g of decelerative force before the brake pads are needed. Hyundai notes that the total output of its 2E motors is 600 horsepower and 545 pound-feet of torque, good for a 0 to 62 miles per hour time of 3.5 seconds, and fed power by an 84 kilowatt-hour battery. Top speed is set to 160 miles per hour, and there's no range estimate just yet. The standard Ioniq 5 AWD is capable of up to around 260 miles of EPA estimated range from its 77.4 kWh battery and produces 320 horsepower and 446 pound-feet. Based on what we know from our prototype drive just a couple of months ago, the Ioniq 5N is due for its final tuning this fall, and then it will go on sale in Korea before it finally gets to the US market in the first half of next year. Luckily, we've already gone for a spin in a prototype version of the 2024 Hyundai Ioniq 5N, which you can read more about here. But here's the takeaway from our writer and driver Scott Evans. Not just a track special, the Ioniq 5N drives like a 600 HP Veloster N in the real world, too. Here, you have so much grip and your speeds are low enough that it takes more work to get the car to rotate, but the underlying character is still there. It's playful, tossable, and begs you to fool around. That grip allows for immediate reaction to steering corrections when you want to dodge a pothole, and out here the brakes don't even feel like they're breaking a sweat. Thankfully, it doesn't ride like a Veloster N. We've harped on the N brand in the past for making all its cars absurdly stiff in their sport and especially track settings, and although the engineers remain unapologetic, they do recognize the Ioniq 5N buyer won't be the same as an Elantra N buyer. Less willing to put up with a spine-fusing ride, these customers will be happy to know the 3-mode electronically adjustable dampers are what we'd call appropriately stiff in track mode and reasonably comfortable in comfort mode.